I'm pulling up the discussion points from.
All right. Season 2, Episode 9, Between Two Sheets. Hopefully make it through this one without any snafus, but we recovered quite well.
We did. Well, Carter handled it quite well. Yes.
What a good episode that was. Just a quick recap. We had Carter, a young man from New York.
Carter Medved,
who started his own website on curling. Listen to episode 8. I highly recommend it. It's going to be one of our best.
It was solid. We need to get our swag bag put together. Let's do that when we're done here.
Okay, deal. We got new hats and stuff in, so ready to go.
We have Clay coming in from an undisclosed location again. Clay, say hi.
Clay, yeah, how are you?
Yep, not so bad, no.
Can you tell us anything about where you're at, or is that highly classified?
There's 2 sinks, a shower, and a toilet.
A bunker? Are you in a bunker?
And some kids screaming around here somewhere.
Oh, you're at home.
Live from my bathroom.
That's why you're in the bathroom. You're hiding from the kids, huh?
Was the weather a little too bad to drive down Burdick and come to the curling club tonight, or?
No. I had to get my kids ready for bed.
Oh, okay, fair.
Yeah.
All right. Well, like I said, new episode here, pretty close to the last one that we released. So I don't think we have to spend a whole lot of time on club updates. Do you guys have anything that you kind of want to touch on before we get into today's episode and today's guest?
Hats came in at the club. They're on the table. Come get some swag. Yep. That's all I got.
Yeah. Nice new green hats. We didn't get the same ones as we had last year. These ones are close to.
There's more than just the green. There's also the pink ladies. And
but we had those last year. These are the new additions.
Yes.
Yeah. But clothing order is done as well. So if you didn't get it in, too bad. So sad.
Yep.
All right. Cool. Well, we got another guest, like I said, coming in today. We're going to call him in. Evan Workin. A man that's well known in the North Dakota curling scene, runs Workin Curling Supplies. He's also had a very successful high performance curling career. Wes is just dialing.
Wes, by the way, I think I lost you.
Oh, I'm still here, Clay. Can you hear me? Clay, you there? All right, we're going to call Evan and try to get back to Clay.
We're going to call Evan and get back to Clay.
Yep.
We're trying to 3-way.
You could text him and tell him he's on hold.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
He'll figure it out.
He will.
Hey, Wes, how's it going?
Hey, Evan. It's going good here. We're recording at the Curling Club, so Thursday Night League is finishing up, if you can hear them in the background. I got Clay on hold here, so I'm going to merge those calls, and then we'll be ready to go. All right. Everybody should be here. Clay, can you chime in?
Yep, no, I can hear you.
Okay, good deal. Evan, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, awesome. We are recording here at the Curling Club now. So Evan Workin of Workin Curling Supplies, friend of the club. How are you doing? I know you're busy tonight, so thank you for squeezing us in.
Good. Yeah, I'm out here in Devil's Lake curling in the club state, Dakota Territory club playdowns right now. So.
That's the Bonspiel. I was going to ask what Bonspiel you were curling, and this is Nolan here. How'd just first draw tonight, or how long you guys been at her?
Yeah, first draw just got done. Went well. Pulled out the first game here, and they're still playing. Still finishing up some of the rest of the games, but pretty good turnout. Like 14 teams on the men's side and 4 on the women's. So big event.
I want to say that's more than last year. I think there's 11 or something last year. They had a couple, or am I off there? Do you know?
I don't know. I think there was like 5 or 6. I think I heard. So it's a big increase, which is always great to see.
Yeah. How's the Devil's Lake Club this year? They got pretty keen ice. How are things for them?
Awesome. Ice pretty good. I know Rudy Blomquist and Ned Sampson got it rocking and rolling here. So tons of curl, fast ice. It's fun to play on.
Great. So where are we going to start here, Evan? You've had quite the long curling career. Do we want to go back chronologically? How'd you get into curling?
Yeah, sure. Super young, I guess. 12 years old. Didn't really have a winter sport. Basketball was not my friend, and I think hockey, you got to start skating before you can actually walk. So, luckily enough, parents curled back in the 80s out in Williston, and when we got a little bit older and we lived and moved to Fargo. Needed that winter sport, and we saw it on TV on the Olympics, and I thought, hey, what the heck, let's go and give her a try, and it's been able to really get me off the ice much ever since. So
yeah, so at that time, did Fargo have like an established juniors program, or were you curling in adult leagues?
Funny enough, it was the first year they had actually started the youth program. I had no idea up until like, I don't know, a handful of years ago. I was talking to Frank Podol in our club, who was kind of the one that spearheaded that and has done a great job for many, many years. He's like, no, you guys were the first year, and the club kind of rallied around it. I know the year before the Olympics, big Olympic boost, like the club was kind of in rough shape. There wasn't a ton of membership, and ever since our youth program got kicked off, it just seems like a lot of us are still around from that initial year and big members of the club now. So it was it's pretty. Junior curling has always been pretty important to me just ever since then.
Yeah, well, that's great. It is nice being the first one in there, and I think we just started up a juniors program. Clay, actually, that's mostly his baby. I'm really hoping we get similar results in the long run.
Awesome. Yes. Nothing but great things to say about it. And, and ever since then, our club's always put a big emphasis on it, and the membership has always rallied around it. And, it's just given a lot back to our club. So it was great to see the investment that the members put in for it. And, we've just blown up ever since then.
How many do you have in there now?
It kind of ranges between like 100 to 120, just depending on kind of the years and who kind of moves up to some of the adult leagues, which is great. You see some kids that get more competitive, and a lot of the junior kids have gotten more competitive over the last few years. We've got a ton of people, junior teams that go and play down, and the U21s or the U18s. So that's great. So you see a lot of them moving up in the adult leagues and kind of giving it to some of the adults, which is great. It kind of makes the rest of the adults kind of raise their game a little bit.
No,
it's always fun to see.
I can see that. Yeah.
So Evan, just kind of looking back at when you started in juniors and kind of started progressing to more of a competition level of play, what's some of the steps that you took, and just kind of take us through that journey of how you went from.
That's exactly what's going to be my question: is how did you get into high performance curling?
The second week it's happened, yeah. Just kind of the journey. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Man, I was always like big into, football and baseball, and, we were taught on emotion, right? So, I got after my first year, I didn't play with my friends. I just kind of was like a solo kid that, that did it, which is totally fine. But then the next year I was like, I want to do this again, but I want to play with my friends, and, got some other kids out there that I was a lot closer with. And, we had like a little junior tournament in the club, and, we kind of excelled at it. We were all pretty good athletes in general. So we kind of started to excel there, and I was like, this is fun, the competitiveness in it I really liked. But it was tough to kind of calm down and tame that emotion some, which was fine. But, I wanted to do that and be a part of it. And after that first year we did it. The next year, my parents were like, hey, they have a high school state tournament. And I was like, oh, sweet. Like anything else you'd seen, there's always high school state tournaments you see on TV with, like football and basketball and stuff like that. So we went to that. We got our butts kicked pretty bad that first year. We lost every game. Yeah. And it was cool. It was actually a guy from the Minot Curling Club, that guy. He was like, hey, our first year we lost every game. And I think we were in the finals that year. And, just kind of kept progressing through that. That was pretty much, our Olympics was get ready for high school stage, each year. Finally, my last 2 years, we kind of broke over that threshold, and we won the high school state. That was awesome. They didn't have the U18 nationals then, but I loved it. Then I found out there was U21s, and sure enough, like our state was top notch there with some other really good curlers like Tucker Smith, Zach Jacobson. We ended up playing them in our first U21 playdowns. They kicked our butt, and it was like seeing that again. That level. It's like, I want to do what they can do. And it felt like that from when I was younger in high school and seeing like how good the top teams were. I knew what to aim for. So I was always like, I want to do what they can do. And you're always watching those older teams. So each year you try to take something from that and move on and move up. And finally, my last couple years U21s, we were fortunate enough to make the U21 nationals. And man, the first national event I went to was actually in Devil's Lake, North Dakota, where I'm at now.
Yeah.
And man, like ever since that point, I was hooked. And even at that one, our first game at the U21 Nationals was against the defending junior world champion. And it was like, holy crap, this is the top level right here. And then, you kind of play with it a little bit. You're like, I can do this. You see that. And again, you're taking these small steps and getting that experience. You're never going to win everything your first time out, which was fine. And you kind of handle that, especially like starting at a younger age, doing the high school stuff, and jumping there. But it was just nice to take those incremental steps and just improve each time, and getting better each part and taking those learning experiences, getting better. And man, just after you get your taste of your first national event, it was like, all I wanted to do was just anything I could to get back there. And, there was a rough year even in between that where we didn't quite make it. We had the bad loss. We've all had that shot to win a game and missed it. And, I had to go through that and learn how it was to have some success and then take a step back and just trying to improve, because like if you're on top, the next team's always chasing you. So learning lessons at a younger age and just kind of kept moving forward with that stuff. And it was exciting stuff. And I was, my last year juniors got to go to Alaska Fairbanks, and just seeing how far I got to travel with curling. Again, it was just so fun, and hanging out with all your buddies and going to that stuff and meeting people from across the country. We're in North Dakota, we're there's not a ton of people in the state, and curling clubs are a little bit spaced out. So it's cool that when you're going across the country and you're hanging out with people that you already know, and it was fun. You're part of that curling community, and that's why I think everybody loves it. And just kind of kept taking off and building from there.
Yeah, I wish I had more comparable experiences to ask you more questions in depth there. But so you did the under 21, and you found some success there. After you aged out of the U21, I believe I've read a couple articles that were in the Fargo paper there. You were playing for the college team for NDSU at that same time, or were you doing that afterwards? Am I getting things confused here? Where'd you go from there?
Yeah. We were, I was at NDSU, and we all had the talk about starting like the NDSU club team, because like college curling was just kind of starting to get going. But we had like the university games that we ended up hosting in Fargo that we were playing before that, and that wasn't a chance for me to kind of continue with some junior level curling. But at the same time, like we won that, we got to go to the university game, like the World University game. So that was a world event, and again, just trying to get to that world level, was just a big driving factor in a lot of that stuff. And, we came up a little bit short there, but that was okay. It was a chance for me to continue on and doing some more of that, higher level curling, because, going from juniors and then trying to go and play in men's level. I mean, you go from being a better team in juniors to being, not a very good team at the men's level. That was a little hard to swallow, but again, it was like, well, how do we get better? And how can we do what those guys do? And it was just, you kind of, you hear that cliche a lot, trust the process, but that was part of it, and doing some of that university games. So it's really like, that was just something to continue to do. And as like kind of got older and kind of moved through like the university system.
So how was that transition to a competitive men's curling, not the juniors or the university? I think one of the things I've always loved about the sport is that I find most people, like yourself, a high performance curler that's very approachable, friendly and supportive. Was that the atmosphere? Was it a little bit more formal? Or was it intimidating? How did that go?
Yeah, I mean, it's all those things, right? Because like you come in and you think you're a pretty good curler, and then you're playing, these guys, and you don't even know what's happening around you. I mean, all of a sudden you look at the scoreboard and you thought you've been playing pretty well, and you're down by 5, and they're kind of looking at you to shake hands, and it was tough, and was learning a new style of curling and how to play at that level. It wasn't just throwing rockets, big weight hits down the ice like we kind of did through juniors. Mm-hmm. So again, it took some time to transition through that. And like we didn't have a ton of coaching growing up in Fargo. We had some, early on to kind of get us going, but it was just tough. So like you had to learn a lot of it,
figuring out on your own, yeah.
One part of that, taking your lumps. So you're trying to spend some money and go out and play these tour events and these higher level events, and you're spending a lot of money to get some experience. For sure. And even trying to jump on with, it's funny enough, like, Scott Brown, I'm playing with his son, Jordan Brown, this weekend, and just kind of come again full circle with that, where I'm leaning on the guy in the club that had been to like a junior worlds back in the day, and kind of more toward the end of his curling, competitive curling cycle. But he was like, hey, got these young guys that want to be a part of it, and he was cool enough to play with us and teach us some stuff. I didn't probably know a lot of the life, some of the lessons he was teaching us about curling at the time, but now a little bit older, I'm like, oh, I get what he was trying to teach us. And so you're never good, too good to learn something from somebody. And so I always say that, like I coach junior kids now, and it's just like, I don't have all the answers, talk to everybody. That's the great thing about the sport. There's always a different way of learning it. So I wish I would have taken some more of those lessons at a younger age. just because I think I kind of maybe would have learned some things a little bit sooner than I did. But even after like he kind of stepped away from the competitive side, and I was just kind of on my own, skipping my own team with some of my buddies. It was tough again. Like we had a couple of years where curling was not that fun. Like you spent all that money, you went to all those events and traveled, and you had some good times. But at the same time, it's like maybe we should just be going to Bonspiels. But that team kind of faded away, and we kind of retooled it. And I stepped back from like even the skipping profile there, jumped on with an older guy that had some more experience. Not an older guy, but a couple years older than myself, Jed Bundage, and still playing with Jordan Brown at the time. And we really, we had a heck of a year. Like it was a lot of learning things that we went through, but we had some success, and you finally get over the hump, right? You always say, if we can just get over that and make it to the national. And it was all those years, from like your early 20s out of juniors, like, I don't think we're ever going to make this. And all of a sudden getting some guys together that all could kind of come with the same plan and ideas and just kind of move forward with that. And, we had some luck and we got into the men's national, and, we were lucky enough to have it in our hometown in Fargo, and again, had some success there. And, wasn't expected by any means. I mean, we were happy to do it. We were competitors, and again, it just hooks you. And I think getting over the hump there and making it to that high level, again, seeing what you have to do to play at that, it's just like a different outlook on the game each time. Like each time you make that next step, it's you have to kind of you have to dedicate yourself differently. Whether that's more time throwing rocks, whether it's thinking about things differently, whether it's just on having a team systems. I mean, it was just putting a lot of things in place and having a plan and sticking to that. And it just seems like each step of the way we came up with some sort of plan, and, might not have been the right way, but it was our way. And, you just get the success from that. And it's infectious and you love it.
Yeah.
Right on. Now you talked about getting over that hump and kind of how the learning never stops in this game. Now making that transition from juniors into the men's side of the game. Was there a professional curler or a local curler or anybody like that you kind of tailored your game after, or did you just take bits and pieces from just watching the game and picking things up as you go?
Yeah, I mean, like I refer back to like maybe Scott Brown, who had more of like the aggressive style gameplay. Want to put a lot of rocks in play. I didn't always agree with it, but again, as I got older and you start to realize like we're never going to score points unless we get some rocks in play. And I think it was just getting comfortable with, if you're going to throw the last rocks, knowing you're going to have to draw the forefoot, you're going to have to draw the button a lot, because it doesn't always work out that way, and taking those opportunities when you have them. So, like what I say, like a player, like, you watch stuff on TV, like the Briar, and, now you can watch so much more that you can watch the strategy that they play. And, you might not necessarily be able to execute what you're watching on, TV or live stream and stuff like that, but you see what they do and why they have to do it, and just kind of like breaking it down. Like, why did they do that? And I think I had a recording of some Briar games. Someone gave it me on like DVD when I was a little bit younger. And I would watch like a couple ends over and over and over again, like trying to figure out why. And as like my skill set got better, I was like, okay, now I'm understanding why they're doing this. Because we just didn't have a lot of people that could walk you through some of that. And if I didn't know who to ask, you try to watch something and try and mimic it and try and figure out why. So like I loved watching like Jeff Stoughton back in the day. He was a Manitoba guy, Winnipeg, had a tuck delivery just like I did. I wanted to shoot like Jeff Stoughton. I thought that was cool. So I watched a lot of his games just to see how they did that stuff. I like seeing a lot of rocks in play, but I also like seeing like the big hit come down, and it was all of a sudden 5 rocks would disappear, and I thought that was cool, and I wanted to play like that. So
did you ever perfect the Stoughton spinorama?
Oh, yeah. I've done the Stoughton spinorama a few times now.
Is that the 360?
Yeah, pretty smooth. I saw Mike McKeown can do it like really well too.
Yeah, not many guys do it on the big scene anymore, but it's Stoughton's one that always sticks in my brain too. Growing up watching the Briar and stuff like that with my old man back home, it's just whether he was up big or down by quite a bit, you knew it was coming, and the crowd just loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I love watching that. Even on like, if you ever seen the movie Men with Brooms,
great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, make the cameo on that doing that. I'm like, that's the coolest thing ever.
Each rock counts as a point. Or he's parked. Leslie Nielsen makes an appearance in that too,
Yeah,
doesn't he?
legendary Canadian. Yeah, that's awesome.
I always thought that was an important part too, like, like coaching juniors and stuff like that. It's just like end of practice here and there, it's like, let's do some trick shots, let's see what we can do. And, you got to keep it fun, right? You got to enjoy, you got to enjoy the sport, because I think sometimes you get consumed in wins and losses, and, you got to enjoy going to the curling club.
I was mathematically eliminated Wednesday night by Angie Rosted. We had 3 rocks left to play, none in the house, and we were down 4. And I did a 360 yesterday, so mine was not as good as Jeff's though. Yeah, have fun with it.
We'll have to get some video of that one next time on you.
Oh yeah, I love doing them.
One more quick trick shot question here too, because it took the curling world by storm last year. Have you ever tried the nicotine spinner?
I haven't tried that one. I think when I was younger, we tried a couple. Scotty Brown, we did that, I think, in the club playdowns one year. He tried a spinner a little bit like that. We practiced it a couple times, I think, like the week prior. So we kind of were thinking about it, but I haven't really tried the nicotine one. I think I got to give her a go here, though, just to see if I can even get close.
Just to try it, right? I'm waiting for that day when I get to give it a try.
Oh, speaking of shots that do odd things on the ice, so you were in competitive curling when brooms really took a leap forward too. What was directional sweeping like before they really cracked down on the pads that people could use? I remember there was a year there where it was just put it wherever you want.
Man, I wish we'd have taken that a little bit more seriously early on, because like even when we were younger, like, people would say like switch and stuff like that. And whether you knew what that meant or not, they did it, and kind of the idea of it. But we were very much a side to side sweeper when you're taught, like, hey, it's side to side. That's the best thing you can do.
Yeah. Like perpendicular to the direction of travel, right? You're saying? Yep.
And then all of a sudden now, like, those broom heads came out, and you were seeing these guys just like, you didn't even realize, like, they just, again, when we were coming up, we weren't the best at that point. You're kind of seeing these guys make some shots. You're like, holy crap, I didn't think he was even close. You almost didn't even realize it was happening to you. And then as they kind of got more and more media attention, and you kept seeing more stuff, it's like, well, let's give this a try. And you're like, holy crap, you can really steer these rocks.
Yep.
And then they, I think within that, by the end of that year or within the next year, they had it all, shut down and changed over. But I mean, you go into some events and you almost feel guilty. You know how to do it, and you're playing on an ice surface that allow you to do that with some of those recreational heads. It's wild what you can make a rock do if you know the right technique for it. So it was a good change that was needed. But at the same time, it's still good, recreational curlers. It kind of helps makes it a little bit more successful, which should still be a good thing too, for that stuff. But yeah, the highest level, it's unreal what some guys can do with a broom.
Yeah, well, you talk about keeping it fun too, and if you're the kind of person that's wanting to get into high performance, it is fun getting a recreational head and actually being able to see the difference. Be like, oh, directional sweeping works. Okay, I'll put in the time and effort to get better at it.
Yeah. I mean, we made our own like version of a head one time, and we were on the edge of the 8. We threw it and we curled the rock all the way to the other side of the edge of the 8 foot. Through the exact same draw again, and we backed it up another foot and put that one on the tee line. So we had a 9 foot swing on it there.
Yeah.
So obviously, kind of back to the curling stories and stuff like that. You've done a lot with your career already. Whereabouts are you at with your curling career now? Do you still stay on the high level, or doing any big bonspiels, looking at nationals or anything like that for this year?
Yeah. We our team, my men's team, I play with Team Conley. A couple guys like Nick Conley and Chris Bond they're out of Seattle. The Granite Curling Club out there, and then it's myself and Nate Perry, and we're going to be in about a little over a week here. We're going to be in New Jersey or East Rutherford for the men's national. So it's exciting to be back. Last year we were game short. We just kind of barely lost out. So it's a great feeling to be back. It's tough to watch on the live stream when you're not there playing in it, when you get a little used to that. So
fun.
Super excited. I was pumped. We had a great year with the guys, and yeah, looking forward to it.
Are you planning on practicing at the Ardsley Curling Club over there in Scarsdale before you compete in Jersey at nationals? by chance?
Yep. We do. We have practice scheduled there. So I've never been to Ardsley, and I'm looking forward to check out the club too.
So last week we interviewed a 16-year-old kid, Carter Medved, who has a website he started for curling resources for other young people trying to get into the sport. And real nice kid. He has press passes to do interviews at the men's nationals or the nationals there, and he curls out of the Ardsley club. So if you run into Carter, tell him Wes and Nolan say hi. Nice guy.
Awesome. Yeah, sis, I'll keep an eye out. I'll see if I can find him there.
And you're not only curling at a high level, you're also coaching quite a bit this year too, as well. If I remember correctly from when we chatted when you were here at the club here.
Yeah. I just got back on Monday. I was coaching Team Fitzgerald, the North Dakota team, the U18 Nationals in the Rock Creek Curling Club in Colorado. There, great time. Those kids are great. I've been coaching them since they were 8, 9 years old, and now they're all seniors in high schools. So it's nice to see where they started and what they got to, and they put a ton of work in, and it's very rewarding to see. Especially like starting at a younger age, like they had, and it's just like a lot of people can get very good at the sport if they dedicate some time, and those guys definitely dedicate a lot of time, and it's good to see what all their efforts pay off.
Yeah,
right on. How was that? I know you're excited to head out to that club too. Was it pretty sweet?
Gorgeous curling club. Sean Stevenson and Mimi Stevenson built that club recently, and it was a incredible place. It's really nice when you get done with your game and you go upstairs and have a beverage, and you can walk out on the balcony and you're overlooking the Rocky Mountains. It's a nice view, a little bit of a change from North Dakota and the prairies here. So very nice.
Awesome.
I wanted to piggyback on that one about clubs. And Evan, there's just so much to talk about here. I don't know if you're on a time constraint, but if you got to go get back to the Bonspiel, let us know.
Good, yeah.
What's the favorite venue you've ever curled at? If you've done these big comps, I'm assuming some of them were in stadiums, that maybe it was hockey ice that came in and got professionally repaired. So that's a different experience than anything I've done. Favorite club, anything like that, especially memorable?
Oh man, these are all great questions. I can't just ever pick just one. I gotta always highlight a couple each time. So I would say favorite curling clubs. I really love the Grafton Curling Club. My wife's from up there. I love going there. I love all the people there.
I still haven't made it there. Is that's a domed like Quonset club? Are they 2 or a 3 sheet? Am I getting them confused with Fortuna or something?
No, 4 sheet. It's 4 sheet curling club.
Oh,
nice building.
Okay.
3 levels. Sauna in the basement, and it's cool. I love. I love the curling club. It's just,
man,
they do. It's pretty cool. We've dabbled in the sauna. We had to try it out just to make sure it all still worked and everything. So it was fun. Kind of nice to do after being on the ice and get a chance to warm up a little bit.
I grew up around a lot of Finns, so saunas were real common in northern Minnesota. Yeah, popular. Okay. I'm a sauna fan. Yeah.
Good deal. You have to get out there. Love that one. I love the St. Paul Curling Club, 100-year-old curling club. It's always nice to go there. People are great. And then my last year juniors, we were fortunate enough when we made the national there. We were up in Fairbanks, Alaska, and fun club, and love it up there. A bunch of North Dakota people actually seem to go to Fairbanks, Alaska for whatever reason that is. So that's probably like my top 3 clubs, like curling clubs I like to visit. Stadiums, arenas. That's a good question. I had a great experience just in general. We were out in Cheney, Washington for the men's national a few years ago. I was on the campus at Eastern Washington. It was cool. A lot of cool foot traffic. And then a few years ago, we made the Olympic trials. So we were down in at the Baxter Arena in Omaha. That was just cool because, what you're doing, big arena. It's nice to play those big arenas. It's just a totally different atmosphere, different experience. You just wonder how they can keep ice out there cold when it's 60 degrees out there. That's cool. But it'll be interesting this year. The men's nationals is at the American Dream Mall there in East Rutherford. So it's like the second biggest mall in America. So it's like the Mall of America's like sister mall or something like that. I was told. So that'll be I'm looking forward to this venue to see how that's like. That might vault the number 1.
That's going to be interesting. Ice conditions. I imagine they got it down to a T. But I remember when I was up in Edmonton, they had a skating rink in the middle of the West Edmonton Mall, and it's like I don't know how that works.
I was just watching YouTube videos last night of them converting hockey arenas for competitive curling, and it's quite the process. And what I'm impressed
Oddly
with is they do it, and they do it in like a couple of days, usually because they're under time constraints, and to get that quality of ice out of it, it's like you give us a month here, and it's like, it's okay, I like our ice, I put a lot of work into it, but it's not world class. We can be honest. So
no, the ice crew's great. It's cool. The head ice maker, Sean Olson, he's originally from Fargo, so he taught me a bunch about ice making when I used to manage the curling club in Fargo. So he'll have it ready to go. Him and his crew, they do a great job, and I'm looking forward to it. And I know they're going to put out a good product for sure. Yeah,
I was just watching his videos. He prefers the same pebble heads we do, the Ice Master ones that George used to rep there. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Those are,
I was like, I like those ones too. They're the only ones I've ever used. So I'd like to transition here a little bit to talk about your work in curling. I know a little bit of the history there, but you come to our club here, and we really appreciate you making the trip out every year and getting supplies to our members. As a board member, I like when not everybody's using the rental equipment all the time. You go to a league night and the broom bucket shouldn't be empty. Most of them should have their own equipment. So thank you for that, and I'd like to learn more for our viewers here.
Yeah. No, it was something that I'd always kind of wanted to do when I was younger. I think, it was probably only a couple years out of college, and, Dakota Curling Supplies, George Phillips out of Langdon, he'd had it, and he was kind of looking to move on. And my dad and I went and looked, and just wasn't quite ready for it. Like, it wasn't quite ready at the time, like the right time for us to do that. And we just didn't quite get her going. And then, probably like 2019, he ended up selling that to a couple on the Twin Cities.
Yep.
Paul and Darcy Ellerby, and they kind of gave us a call, and they're like, hey, something you guys want to do in that area, it was a little bit far for them. And talked with my wife, Rachel, and I was like, hey, do you something we kind of want to maybe do a little bit on the side? I got asked all the time, they're like, hey, how do I get this and how do I get that? Curling supplies aren't the easiest always to get at times. You can always find them online now, but I think it just took a little bit for the supply side to catch up to the whole online side of it.
Well, that's new too. Even like 5 years ago, it was a lot more of a challenge to get stuff down the States, if you weren't getting it from somebody local like George, Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were like, yeah, sure, let's give it a try. And kind of did it. And it was like the COVID year. So I was, it was kind of hit or miss with COVID. Sometimes some curling clubs really had nothing else to do. If they were open, great. People wanted stuff. They weren't doing a whole lot else. And but there wasn't a whole lot throughout the country. So it was like, man, this is what it is. And it seemed like each year we'd get a little bit more people got used to us kind of going around here and there selling it, and getting used to seeing stuff online, which was great. Made it a little bit easier to get stuff over to people if you couldn't quite make it to their curling club. And then this year just decided, hey, this is the year. And it was great. Had full support from my wife. She's like, yeah, if you want to do this full time, let's go for it. And it's kind of what I've really dove into this year. I inherited or worked with George Phillips. He was still kind of doing like the equipment side of things with rocks and blades and machines and stuff like that. And we're kind of transitioning over. I'm going to take that over from him as he kind of starts to enjoy some bit of the retirement life. And he's been fantastic, helping me out with all that stuff and navigating the border crossing and getting equipment from here and there. And it's been fun.
I know we're interviewing you. Do you remember how many years George has been running that? I want to say it's like 60 plus, right? He's been selling curling equipment in North Dakota for like 64 years or something wild like that.
Man, I don't know quite that, but it's been a long time. I think I still have every piece of curling equipment I ever got from George from when I was younger. I mean, heading up to Langdon and meeting him at his restaurant and getting some stuff out of the back. It was cool. And I just love curling supplies. It's a sport I love to do. So, he's been great, working with me, just helped me through a lot of different things like that. So I'm excited. I wasn't sure if how much I'd love being in a curling club every day. And it's been great. Like, I love talking about things and helping people out. in a sport that I really like to play. So it's been great. I really have enjoyed it so far.
I got to say, on the equipment side of things, you toe dipped my shoes for me 2 weeks ago when you were here. And, I always understood what toe dip did. And I figured that it worked to some extent, but I was like, you don't need it. You don't need it. My first game out, I was probably taking 30% off my rocks. Like the first couple I threw in a game, I actually had to put both knees down because I started catching up to the rock after I let go of it. I did this drill with Charlie Young like a month ago where we held onto the rock and we tried to slide as far as we could, hold in good position and see how far you'd get, like a form check. And I could only make it to 10 feet in front of the hog line. And Charlie was hitting the backboards. And my first time out, I hit the hack on the far end with the toe dip. Huge difference. I'm sold, man. Sold. You did a great job with it. So good.
Good, man. I was like, you're like, you have to let me know. So I'm happy you told me. Yeah, it's definitely a game changer for sure. So
yeah,
you can throw the high hard one now.
If you're a knee dragger, whatever. But I at least curl with good enough form to not have my knee on the ice. So yeah, it's helped my game. So yeah, still getting used to it, but really like it. Custom shoes too. How did you break into custom shoes? I kind of assume it's because you wanted to start making your own, and then you were like, well, I'm doing the Workin curling thing. Let's get some more out there. What's that like? You enjoy that process? You get satisfaction out of it, or?
Yeah, I do. It's it's always cool, unique. I love selling. I had probably how many different pairs of curling shoes when I was younger. It seemed like something different each year. This one's cool. This one's cool. And I think it just didn't quite I just wanted a new pair of shoes every year. And styles didn't quite change as probably as my style. Like I just always wanted something new and unique. And curling shoes are still a great thing, for sure.
So,
but yeah, I found some shoes I liked, and I was like, hey, get these made. And I got my first kind of initial pair made by Ashram, and then I was like, kind of looking at it like, I think I can do this. And then it kind of just took a swing at it, made my own, and people thought that was pretty cool. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can make yours. And it just kept snowballing from there. Then all of a sudden I'm selling curling supplies, and I think the shoe stuff kind of went right along with it. And I've gotten much better over the years. I might apologize for some of those early pairs I did for some people. But now I feel like I got it down pretty well. And now having all this time in the, only focusing on curling supplies, like I do enjoy it. And I love seeing the different kinds of unique shoes. I don't know if I was talking to somebody there, someone wanted like light up shoes or something like that for curling. I always thought that'd be kind of cool. So it'll be interesting to see what else comes across here in the next couple of years.
We got a guy that curls in Crocs, and I kind of wanted to ask you to make a set of curling shoes for him because he's been with our club like 5 years, and he's still curling in Crocs with a step-on slider. And I was like, I bet I could get Evan to make some like curling shoes for him.
Yep.
Yeah. We might follow up with that. So yeah.
Please, I always wore Crocs around the curling club when I was like the manager, just because it was easy on and off. I got the thermal Crocs, you got
the fur line ones. Right?
Yeah.
So I will happily make a pair of Crocs. I might make a pair for myself to go along with those for sure.
Shoot me a quote when you're not busy. We'll talk. Okay.
Sure thing.
All right. Well, just while we're on the topic of shoes too, I mean, obviously there's a bunch of different kinds of sliders there. They vary in thickness, things like that. What's your opinion on stainless steel and the plastic discs or plastic sliders, depending on if it's a full foot? What do you prefer, and what do you think is better, or do you think it just kind of depends on the ice conditions you're curling on?
Yeah, that's a great question. I was always kind of told at a younger age, it depends on the ice conditions, and like Asham made their shoes, super modular with their rotator sole and stuff like that, where you could rip them, you could pull the one off, they're Velcroed on, you could put on maybe a slower one if the ice was super fast, stuff like that. Well, I didn't like the thought of having to change that all the time. So when I first went up and visited George Phillips, I was like, I want the fastest ones. I want these stainless ones. That's what I want. He's like, all right. And I went from the thinnest sliders you could have to the fastest ones. And man, that was a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
I like the stainless. I've had them since I was, 16. So I don't know, for a lot of years now. And I liked it because I didn't notice frost on the ice. It just felt the same for me anywhere I was at. So it was an easy adjustment. It wasn't super thick on there. I tried the Teflon, the quarter inchers, the fastest ones. Still great. Still plenty fast. I mean, probably very similar speed to the stainless even.
Yep.
I just didn't quite like the feel underneath my foot. Would I recommend stainless? I mean, not necessarily for everybody. You know, you gotta take care of them. You gotta make sure you're cooling them off. You don't want to melt anything into the ice. You know, your ice makers are gonna give you some hell if you're putting rings or any marks in the ice. And as a person that's done ice a bunch, like I can feel that, and they work hard on that. And so you gotta treat that well. But quarter inchers, I mean, it's always been a big recommendation of mine. Anybody that moves on to that. Yes, they're fast, but I always say if you're gonna something you want to do, the first couple games are going to be a little quick for you or a little slippery, but you settle in. I think it's easier on your knees. Having something a little bit faster. They're pretty durable. So if you're thinking about making that change, making that upgrade, absolutely recommend those quarter inch Teflon. If you want the stainless, absolutely got those. Get them for you. They last a lifetime. I still have the same ones I had when I was 16. And they've been good to me. So
growing up curling in rural Saskatchewan, it's we had a lot of frost on ice, and I remember the first time I tried a stainless slider, and it was a world. I felt like a snowplow going down the ice. I couldn't see it, but I just pictured this frost shooting out the side of my foot. It was a world of difference. But now I'm more of the Teflon kind of guy.
The old curling club we were at in Fargo, you couldn't get the rock down the ice. We were younger, and I was like, God, I want to, I wanted to be like Jeff Stout, and I want to throw, big heavy weight. And they're like, well, your sliders are slow. And so, I got the fast ones, and man, there was some learning curve there, but man,
I can't imagine going from a 3/32 to a stainless, man. Cause that's where I started, right? You buy your shoes and they just come with the thinnest, cheapest one on there, and you use it. And then, you can figure out your form, and you start getting thicker and thicker. And I worked my way up to quarter inchers and then went to a stainless, but I picture that first day. I fell, my first time out with the stainless, so it happens.
Yeah.
So just before we finish up here, because like I said, we don't want to hold you up too long. I did want to ask, just with running Workin curling full time now, what's been one of your favorite parts about having that going full time? Is it being able to travel around to a bunch of different clubs? Or do you get a bunch of cool prototype stuff that manufacturers might send you to try out? Is there something like that that's kind of been your favorite part of this?
Sure. Yeah. I do love going to curling clubs. I get to see a different side of it. I love playing in bonspiels, but you do start to see a lot of similar people, which is great. That's one side of it. But like being in the club and seeing just like the casual member that, they might not travel the bonds because I might never meet these people. Some of you are just hanging out on a Tuesday night, and Minot, North Dakota, you get to meet a lot of cool, interesting people. And I love it. And I look forward to going back each year to see those, same people and see how they're doing and how much like maybe something they got, hey, how are those new curling shoes treating? It's like, I love it, man. Like even Wes saying that toe dip was great. Like, I love it. You like hearing that. And I love to see people improve their game. I just think it makes the game better. Makes curling in the state, and in general, just that much better. So it's something that is really rewarding to see some people just improve with just some of that stuff.
No, it is. I can see that sense of satisfaction. I get a similar one from teach and learn to curls and running leagues and stuff. So I wanted to touch on here. Oh God, I'm panicking and blanking on my question. Oh, Evan, our outdoor event. Can we plug that? Do you want to give the rundown on it here? Because I'm excited for that upcoming event, and we can touch on it, I believe. So
sure, yeah. We got February 5th. God, I can't say the name all the way. It's the alley, Citizens
Alley, Axel's group, Citizens
group.
Alley.
Yep, and that's the friends of the club, the Ackermans. We're sitting at the Ackerman table at the curling club actually right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yes, yeah. February 5th, got to learn to curl out there. Looking forward to it. Putting on doing some outdoor curling. I love doing that. It's exciting stuff. You kind of get back to your roots out there. But yeah, anybody else looking to come on out, come check it out. You don't have to curl. Don't have any prior experience, any equipment or anything like that. We'll have all that there for you. Give her a go, and then in another month or so, we're going to have another outdoor actual bonspiel out there to have. So it's kind of it's a way of learning it before the actual bonspiel starts, to do some outdoor curling, just like they did back in the day when they first started curling.
Yeah, we covered that on our podcast. One of our season 1 episodes was History of the Minot Club. And they were out there about 20 years curling on the river. And then it was natural ice,
I just saw that old picture you guys had posted on your Facebook page.
That old barn.
That is wild. I love that.
Yeah.
That's stuff.
There was a car dealership used it in the summers for putting cars in there too. So it was multi-use space. Here's a fun one too, Evan. So hockey has a lot higher profile than curling, but in Minot, North Dakota, the curling club started as the Curling and Skating Association, where skating was the afterthought. They were putting in a curling club, and they're like, well, people ice skate, we should do that too. And there's an article in the paper from like 1906 about how the curling club's going in, and or like 1914, when they were building the first, building for it. And they said probably the first hockey game will be played in Minot shortly after they get that rink done that they're putting in next to the club. So first hockey game was curled was played at the curling club. Yep. And now the tables have turned a little, but yeah.
Unreal.
We're both still here. So yeah.
Yeah, because Minot's curling club, the second oldest curling club in the state, maybe like by a year.
1905, first year they did any curling here that we could find. I believe that we were formally incorporated sometime in the 1910s. I'd have to go review the episode of my notes, but yeah. So we always say 1905 is our start date. Which, talking about the St. Paul Club, we're only 20 years after them. They were 1885, and then when they merged, that was actually 1912. So depending on how you slice it, there, we're an old club, and we were sending people down there to that St. Paul big. International spiel and stuff, and they were taking the train from Moose Jaw down, and yeah, it's got a proud history, and that's kind of fun for me. I'm an out of towner. Same with Nolan. I guess same with Clay too. But it's a lot of history, and it's something you feel good about. And you help out and get to be a part of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's awesome.
What else we got here, man? Let you go party? Or?
Yeah, it's you got a big night in front of you now, or up for the early draw? What draw did you pull for the morning? I guess we didn't even ask that.
That's it. Yeah. Sorry, what was that?
What draw do you got tomorrow? Did you get the early one, or did you get a break? Did you get to sleep in a little bit?
Yeah. We got the 9 a.m. or so. We're done for the night, and then be back at the club. I don't be early morning.
Mark Hildo didn't do the draw because winners don't curl the early draw at the Minot Curling Club, which is a good tradition.
We got the afternoon nap draw, so we get to go and play the morning, and then go kind of lay around all day before the night game. Then, but it's all right. It's fun. It's a good day hanging out with the guys and do some curling.
All right. Well, give Charlie and them hell for us this weekend too.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely will.
We'll let you get back to it. Thank you for joining us. And if you need any new curling gear or anything like that, at workincurlingsupplies.com, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Right on.
Appreciate
awesome.
the shout out.
Yeah, love to have you back on sometime too. So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Evan. Have a good night. Good luck.
Thanks. Bye.
So for our viewers that are here still, Clay had a work call and had to leave us. So.
I don't know if it was a work call. Was it a work call, or was that? I don't know what he meant by superintendent, and I'm not going to get into it on the podcast because
that's a big word, man.
Yeah, I had some wives of the pod say they want to be on an episode.
I talked to my wife about that.
I have not talked to my wife about it yet. I actually forgot about it after I told you about it.
Well, evidently I lied to my wife then because I said the other wives were in.
Oh,
she initially wanted to opt out, and I said, well, I think you should do it. They'll be kind of fun,
Kaylee, if you're listening, you're coming on the podcast.
Mm-hmm. Well, and we talked, we were going to do something for them, Widows of the Minot Curling Club, because all of our wives have the same problem.
They never see us. Good episode.
Yeah.
That's fun to hear about someone that's local.
Yeah.
To the state, at least. Maybe not Minot, but local to the state, and is curled on many different levels of curling, high performance, clubs, playdowns, junior curling.
There's so many things we didn't even touch on. One of my favorite things talking to Evan is just talking about, what it's like being part of a leadership of a curling club, because he was with Fargo in some tough years over there. And, now they've grown and, it's a different experience over there with its own set of challenges. And that's a topic I like talking about too. That's mostly I'm on it over here, too. But we didn't even get to his wife too. He's got an amazing curling family story there. Him and his wife competed in mixed doubles and have had success in that. And they kind of met through curling too. So
just means
and to get him back on.
Friend of the pod.
And we can hear about how he won nationals and then went to the Olympics. And we can say we interviewed that guy.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I hope Carter interviews him too.
That'd be awesome, right?
I know. I was just tickled that I was like, oh God, he's going to Jersey. Oh wow, there we go. Yeah. Should we give Clay a call and just see what he's doing?
Good. Give Clay a call.
All right.
This
We'll
is
give
going to be
Clay
our
one.
thing. Clay's not going to be part of the podcast anymore. He's just going to be our follow-up call. That's what I feel like we're working to.
Well, our viewers here, he's probably going to answer, but, we had a discussion before and said, are you mad at us?
Hey, Wes.
Clay, are you mad at us?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Well,
Well, where did you have to go? You said superintendent, and we're debating if it was a work thing or if it
was the
a
school superintendent.
No, it
marital
was,
thing.
it was the drilling supervisor.
Oh, it was actually work. Okay.
Oh,
All right.
yeah.
It was.
Good.
Well, did the kids get put to bed too? Did you two birds with one stone there?
They're getting put to bed right now.
What time is your kids'
Man,
bedtime?
they're up late partying. Jeez.
They do have a late bedtime. It's
Yeah,
like
it's
9:45. Yeah, right about now.
goodness gracious. It's almost midnight on the East Coast.
Leia is impossible to put to sleep.
I bet my wife's in bed already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to Brett Tinnis downstairs, and I said, yeah, we're doing the podcast. It's starting after my bedtime.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. That's what you got to do, though, to get something like Evan on. He
Yeah,
he is
oh, yeah.
legitimately a really busy
So
guy.
busy.
It's like we're trying to work the outdoor curling thing with him, too, and it's the scheduling's tough, especially with all the travel, like in Denver, back in Fargo, Jersey. So where did you lose us, Clay? Did you get to hang in there and hear a decent bit? Or we did ask your question.
Oh, you did? Okay, good. What did he say on that one, by the way?
Kind of a mixed review. It's whatever you're comfortable with. He does recommend the thicker sliders for sure.
Yeah, and I think part of it, because actually me and Nolan had talked with him, 2 weeks ago when he was here doing equipment about steel sliders as well. And he thinks they're fine and great, and he personally uses one and likes them. Not for everybody, obviously. And he did touch on the point I wanted to make, was that as someone who does ice, you don't want new curlers and steel sliders, like even if they can handle the speed, because they're going to leave rings out there. They don't cool them down right, and you'll have other issues.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, it's like wearing steel spikes on the golf course, right? The greenskeeper's going to absolutely murder you.
I've gotten kicked off of 3 different golf courses for not wearing shoes on greens, by the way, too. So it's not just spikes. It's you don't want to be barefoot out there.
It might just be you.
It might just be me too.
We still live, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, we've never been live, but we are recording. Yes,
We are recording. Okay.
yes.
No, that's what, and I would completely agree on the thicker sliders. I was just always been curious if it's worth getting the steel ones or what the real benefit was, or if it was more of a carryover from a time when they didn't have the thicker.
Well, I think there was definitely a time when they were the best thing out there by a long stretch, because you didn't have all the high quality plastics, and you could have stainless steel. And back in the day with all the frost, and doing lift deliveries, like you wanted the speed. I think now, and I discussed this with Evan was the other week, was that I think 1/4-inch slider that's brand new is pretty equivalent to a steel slider. And why I like the steel slider, though, is I'll never have to buy another one. You just rotate it and you move on. Where the 1/4-inch, they're plastic and they'll scrape and you got to replace them.
I did notice the thicker ones are a lot louder.
The thicker Teflon ones?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was going on the ice last night. I'm like, what the heck is that noise?
Yeah.
Did you just get a new one on yours?
Yeah, I bought new discs.
And you went with the 1/4-inch Teflon
1/4-inch?
plastics?
Mhm.
Yep.
That's why we won last night.
Yeah, and this probably says something about me. I run a steel on the front and a plastic on the back because I don't like my heel being as slippery. So I got a 1/4-inch on the rear. That's probably 3 seasons in, and that's somewhat intentional for me. But yeah. Well, Clay,
Fun.
we had
what other? I lost you right after. It was pretty early on there, actually.
Well, for you to know what we talked about in this
I
episode,
might have to tune in.
you'll have to be just like the rest of our viewers and tune in.
Mm-hmm. One fun tidbit was the kid we interviewed last week there, Carter. Workin's going to Jersey, and he's going to be practicing at that Ardsley club that Carter curls out of. So I'm a little tickled that they'll probably run across each other. I hope they do. It's a fun little connection. It's a small curling world, so I bet it'll happen. Yeah.
But yeah, so coming up on the pod, I believe we have Curling for the Cure, because that's next weekend.
Yes, we got to get them on.
And
I have one scheduled too for Sunday after youth curling, different one.
Okay, so there's that. We also have Winterfest coming up soon, so they'll be on.
Yeah, were we going to double them up?
You think we'll double them up? Yes.
We'll double them up.
We'll
Yeah.
have two different sets of guests.
There is overlap between those two groups.
Nolan, have you selected your bartending outfit for curling for the cure yet?
You know,
I got a kilt you can borrow.
I requested just bow ties.
The Chippendale uniform.
Yeah.
Solid.
Maybe some spray paint. Put some abs.
Make sure you put the tip jar out if you do that.
That's the meat raffle. Clay, I wish you would have been here to see that reaction. Oh my goodness gracious.
I almost swallowed my confidence. God damn it. Oh, jeez. It's getting late.
It's the same jar. Honestly, it's the same jar. I just didn't change the sticker.
So, it is. We do have one that says meat raffle that we use for tips. God, that was a double on. That was a triple entendre.
Yeah.
Yes.
I broke the fourth wall.
Oh my God.
So I don't think that's what that means. There's no video here, but yeah, no, it'll be fun. We got a lot of good stuff coming up at the Curling Club here, so stay tuned. We'll make sure we keep you updated, and obviously we're going to be entertaining as we do it.
I don't think we lost any audio this episode either.
We didn't. No, I kept an eye on her. It was doing pretty good.
It was because you reminded me when I was making the file to record on to put one take in the. Yep.
Clay, you got anything you want to add? You got anything coming up that you wanted to touch on?
No, I don't think so. Just a lot of events coming up. So
many. Yep.
All right.
Get them as they come.
Oh, we talked about getting the wives on, Clay. Have you talked to Beth yet?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Was she in?
Yeah.
It was her idea. Of course she's in.
I figured as much.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it was her idea. Sorry, Beth.
We're gonna make them shirts.
Widows
of the Minot Curling Club.
Yeah.
What about just bow ties?
I don't know if my wife would wear a bow tie. No. I'll go home and ask.
I don't know. It's not the neckline I think Kaylee's going for.
Yeah. All right.
Perfect.
It's been good.
That was episode 9. Thank you very much to Evan Workin.
WorkinCurlingSupplies.com.
WorkinCurlingSupplies.com. Thanks for Clay for calling in. Maybe he'll be back if he actually likes us. I don't know. We're still deciding.
We still got your mic, Clay. We're ready.
Sounds good. See you guys.
Until next time.
Bye.